If I knew a place nearby that could give you a little rub and tug for $50, like a little Asian massage parlor, would you go?
No, I'm a married spud.
Is that cheating?
Yes.
Isn't that a massage though?
No.
That's but
You called it a rub and tug. It's you didn't call it a massage.
Well, I mean, verbiage is verbiage, man. But I don't know. Is that really cheating though? It's not like
I wouldn't. I mean, if someone's single did it, I wouldn't.
It's not like you're pursuing them for love. You just want a quick release.
I can give myself a quick release. It's really not that difficult. 30 years later, I know how to jerk myself off.
Dude, but you're not curious, like, oh man, $50 down the road, like some like random.
How did
Asian
you discover
lady?
this place?
What if word travels, man? Word travels fast, right? You just if you hear about it, I don't know. I'm just curious if you want to go. Maybe we go down there. I'm gonna go first though, right? Or no, we'll get our own massage therapist.
Okay, even if there was a world where we were both single, you thought we were going to take turns with the same person? Of course we'll get our own, you fucking nut job.
No, we're going to be side by side.
Yeah, well, at the same time, yeah. Okay, there is no going first.
Oh man, what a visual that was.
I don't think there's anything wrong with going to one of those places though.
And that's another thing is like, why is that illegal in this country? You know what I mean? You can
because we're a country of like Protestant prudes.
How did the porn industry get away with it, man? How did that? I don't understand that. If you film it and you get paid for it, it's no problem. That's a piece of art. But if you just get paid for it and don't film it, that's illegal.
I thought about this a lot. I think that there needs to be a cameraman. So you can get a prostitute as long as I film it for you.
Literally. I mean, everybody has to consent, and as long as there's a filmer, and then it's legal to have prostitution. That's such a weird thing. I don't understand. How is that still a thing in this country right now?
I think it's messed up that if it was made legal, you could like make it better. There wouldn't be serial killers who could easily kill prostitutes.
Now
I've been watching these Netflix documentaries, man, and they're all killing prostitutes. And it's like, well, if these people had an establishment that they could work at, then they wouldn't like go missing with no one noticing. Yeah,
man. There's and it would be more sanitary. Like there's all these like reasons why you should do it.
I'm sure there's a few people that don't want it to be sanitary. Like that's their whole thing. That this is in the alleyway.
Well, if you like the Chevy down by the trailer park, that's a different thing, man. You can go do that all you want, right? But I don't, dude. It's. I've just been.
There are places where it's legal, right? Outside of Las Vegas. What's that called? Like Durango County or something?
I'm not sure, man.
I don't remember.
I mean, I have heard. Yeah, I thought Vegas gets away with it somehow. I didn't know how that works.
Vegas. I don't think it's legal in Vegas. It's illegal in Vegas, but there's a county, a different like area right outside of Vegas where it is legal.
So a bunch of people just got together and like, fuck the government. We're gonna have prostitution. Basically, right?
I'm sure it was a local election process. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
They voted to make it. Just like weed is legal in Las Vegas, or just like mushrooms are decriminalized in Denver.
Sure.
But illegal in Colorado.
Right. That's crazy.
I think it's something like that.
Man. You think we'll see that change within our lifetime? Prostitution
most certainly,
legalized?
Definitely.
In the United States?
Yeah.
Weren't you just in Amsterdam did you see the red light district? Like,
I did.
Ladies in the red lights, man?
Yeah.
Were they good looking?
Maybe. I think I've told this story, but there is a red light district that when you Google it on the phone, one popped up that was closer to our place. And then there was one that was further away, and that's like the one that everyone knows about. We went to that one, and yeah, there were attractive chicks. It was like...
Was there dude prostitutes like in Windows? Was it all females?
I only seen females, but it could have been guys.
That's another thing I was wondering about too. Like, there's gigolos. I mean, I always hear that women like have their horniest in like their 40s or 50s or something, and then I think like if we had gigolos legal in America, I bet all these 40, 50-year-old women would be all over that shit, man.
I'm sure.
I guess there's like they swipe nowadays. I don't know. Maybe just go on the internet.
In Amsterdam, we went to the main red light district, and it was a bunch of windows, a bunch of like chicks like behind curtains, like trying to like do come hithers and shit.
Yeah.
And then I went to the one near where we were staying, and it was just like a street, and we were walking on the street like looking for the red light district, and then I realized like, oh my God, I thought it was her house. That lady is like reading the newspaper in her lingerie, and it was like an old lady. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And we keep walking, and then I'm like, oh my, I think we're at the red light district for this area, but it's like the leftovers. And then there's
this is Old Town.
Then there's like this fat chick texting in front of the window, and I noticed like she's got this like tiny little red neon light. And it's like, it's daytime, so that light isn't illuminating anything. But I think, like, that's where the locals go. You know what I mean? Like, the hot chick red light district's for all the tourists. But locals get there.
What time of day was this?
Daylight, I don't remember. It was afternoon.
Because I feel like all the hotties are probably sleeping in the day, and then at night they had to work all night, you know?
Well, we also went to the
work?
main one and it was still daylight out. And there was a bunch of people.
Right.
It's just kind of weird.
I want to go. I gotta see that, but it's such a weird that we don't have that here, man. Unless you film it, and then it's totally fine.
Or what is it, like escorts? Escorts are okay because the implication is that you're not having sex with this person. You're paying them to spend time with.
That's another thing I don't understand either, because I see like these big TikTokers hiring like porn stars for their friends. And then they're like, all right, see you later. And I'm like, what? Is this prostitution? Like, you're just showing this on TikTok? I don't understand how you... No, that's an escort? They're just
also
hanging out tonight? You know, they don't you don't know what they did.
I think that's a loophole, right? Because if you hire an escort to spend time with, and then, you tip her because you had a good time, maybe you guys could both claim like, oh, we spent time together, we liked each other, and then we had sex. So maybe that's how you get away with it. You're not paying for the sex. You're paying for time, and then you guys can pretend to like each other for an hour.
This was a different job. This was a TikTok job. But it turned out our TikTok job and turned into love.
Right.
Wow. There probably is some loopholes there, huh? I don't know. I just seen it on like TikToks, and they surprise them for their birthday with a porn star or something.
I think it's a weird thing, like...
Were you just hanging out for the day? You're doing something with her, right?
How are you proving that is a transaction? Like, this money is for this sex. I get how they do it, like when a lady cop pretends to be a hooker, and she's wearing or she takes him to like a wired room, and she says, to have sex, you must pay me for this. And then the guy does, and now he's busted. But when it's like behind closed doors between two people, the only way I think that they could get busted is if one of them talks. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. If you get arrested, shut up. Don't start saying, oh, I messed up, I paid for sex. Okay. Right. Well, now you're charged.
You definitely can't just clearly admit that I'm paying for sex.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. That's wild. I can't imagine what their accountants are doing right now. Like,
maybe it'd be a good video, like you try to buy a prostitute. We see if you get arrested.
Great idea. I'm sure my girlfriend will love that. What is there? The weird thing though, I feel like rub and tug is okay, but prostitute is crossing the line. Is that weird?
Do you really feel like that's okay? Because it's not.
What if you were getting a regular massage and you just came? Is that cheating now? Because you had some super hot, you didn't know the massage therapist was gonna be that hot, and you're like you hadn't jerked off in a couple weeks or something.
Couple weeks?
This is my scenario. Don't mess with my scenario.
Nobody's
right
made
now.
it a couple weeks. Nobody's been like, oh, it's been 2 weeks since I've jerked off. That's never been said.
What do you think the longest time you've ever gone between? This is a very weird sexual episode now.
Surely it's been.
I think I've only gone like a week.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, a week.
Right.
Since I've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And that was like just for a personal, like, let's just see how far I can go.
You're gonna do it. You're like crossing off days on the calendar.
I think I can do this.
You ever see those, like, you've heard of No Nut November?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to participate in that?
No.
They pretend like by the end of November they become like these galaxy brain wizards. Like it enlightens them.
Fuck that. I'll tell you the reason. Actually, I'll tell you the reason why I did it. I know exactly. I've done it. I've actually done it many times, but only for like a week. And it's because before my fight, there's all these fighters that have these like, I don't think there's any scientific evidence, but they'll say like superstitions that like you don't, jerk off the week before the fight because you want your testosterone. Because
you want to blow a fat load on the loser. Could you imagine if that was like part of fight tradition? If whoever loses,
you have to finish him. And that's where finishing came from.
Oh, okay.
You didn't
See,
know
I'm
that.
not a fighter. Yeah, I don't watch
fight lore. You'll get caught up in this podcast.
Is that
eventually.
why like you have to pay to watch UFC fights because it becomes sexual?
Pay-per-view.
Right.
Oh my god, what a turn! I don't even know where I was going for now anymore. We went on a left turn.
I don't know.
What were we talking about? Oh, how long we can jerk? Yeah. So I don't. I've had a dozen fights and I would say at least 10 of them. I definitely a week before the fight I didn't jerk off or have sex or anything. And there's definitely like one or two fights where I just said fuck it and like I got laid or something like that. But never more than a week. Of
those 10 fights that you waited a week for, how many did you lose?
I should have taken the statistics there, huh?
But now we'll never know.
I really don't. To tell you the truth, I don't think there was a correlation at all. I don't
think so.
I think it's completely skill based. Looking back.
Yeah, it might have something to do with training and skill, for sure.
It's just fighting's such a weird thing, though, because...
Could you imagine if the winner was determined by who held their nut in the longest?
Dude. Well,
I haven't ever came. He's undefeated.
All my years of, like, fighting and wrestling, like, you're always worried about your opponent. Like, they're warming up and stuff, and, like, they're doing jumping jacks for the fight, and, like, you hear the rumors, like... Oh man, I heard he didn't nut for 3 years, man. This he's the nut wrecker, man.
His balls are just like...
He's walking around the biggest balls, dude. He can't even go in the previous weight class. He had to bump up a weight class. His balls are so big.
Like the pro fighters get him removed so that they can't nut.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't ever want to nut.
Once you become pro. Oh, no.
You were asking...
Well, before I go on, fighting's so weird because you can have all the skill in the world and everything, but...
But if you nut, you lose.
If you jerk off too soon, you're not going to have the energy. No, the day of the fight, though, man, I don't know what it is, man. Sometimes you feel like you're great, and then sometimes you just feel like you're not on point or something, But at that day, you have to perform. There's no backing out of it, you know what I mean? And so there's, every fighter will have their like pre fight ritual of what they do. You know what I mean? It's like I gotta do it this way, or I'm not feeling on or something. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, rituals and superstitions are a big part of sports.
Yeah,
like people that wear the same socks when they watch their team play, as if
that's so dumb.
As if their socks have any influence on how the team performs.
Oh my god, they must be listening to their own. What is it called if you're like a Gemini? What is it?
A Gemini? Oh, astrology.
Yeah, they must be.
Dude, I've been watching like Star Wars videos, so I thought you were trying to say the word Jedi, and I was like, I don't know. Jedi's.
There is a new Jedi series coming out, huh?
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Came out already.
Oh, did it?
There's 3 episodes in.
Nice. You've been watching it?
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah. I have a hot take that people disagree with me about on this. And it doesn't spoil anything. There will be no spoilers.
We don't have to spoil it. Did you watch the new Stranger Things yet? Because that just came out as well. Are you into Stranger Things?
Dude, I was just about to get people who like Obi-Wan offended and hate me, and now I have to do the same for Stranger Things.
Uh-oh, we're going for everybody today.
Let me start with Obi-Wan. The show is very cool and very nostalgic because Ewan McGregor's in it.
It's the old characters, right?
And I get how cool that is.
Back from the 2000s, that era of Star Wars movies.
It takes place 10 years after the last prequel ended.
What's kind of funny is T-shirts from that era, the Darth Maul era. Those vintage T-shirts go for a shitload of money.
Darth Maul shirts. Yeah, I learned this at that.
Probably more than like a vintage. If you could find like the old 70s shirts or something, I think it's or 80. When did the first Star Wars come out? 80s.
80s, yeah.
I think even more expensive than the old 80s shirts. The Darth Maul era. I don't know. People like that guy.
So this show is really good in a lot of ways. But there is a lot of scenes that I can't understand. Like, there's this scene where a 10-year-old is outrunning 3 adults. And...
10-year-old is outrunning 3 adults.
There's another scene where, like...
It would be so much funnier if the scene just ended there with the adults just trampling them and beating the kid up. Like, wait, you think you're going to outrun us?
There are 4 scenes in 3 episodes that are like that, though, where it's like... People are walking from point A to B or chasing someone from point A to B, and it doesn't make sense. Like, and it just seems like they had a story to tell, and they like needed some filler, and they poorly executed that.
Interesting.
So that's my gripe with Obi-Wan. Now, Stranger Things, I didn't make it through season 1, and I gave it, dude. There were only like 2 episodes left for me to watch. And I said, I'm done watching this. I tried.
How far did you get? Do you remember? Or no, probably
There
not.
were like 2 episodes left of season 1. So 8 episodes? I don't know how many episodes are per season. I got deep into season 1. I was finishing season 1.
To tell you the truth, I do think the second and the third season are better than the first season.
Yesterday I was told the first season is the best season.
No. There's nothing happens in the first season. You just meet the characters.
They were trying to say like that's what they like. They like their fiction to be kind of mystery.
Yeah, the first season they're just like kids, and you're just hearing the rumbles of what's going on, and you know there's just a lot of mystery. Like what's up with this chick? Why does she have powers? And all what's her story? And what's the villain? Like. That's all the season 1 is, but then I think season 2 and 3 of Stranger Things are interesting because like the villain gets more dynamic and he starts infecting people and I don't know. It's an interesting show. I don't know. I think you should try to finish it maybe.
I did say that I'm willing to give it another shot, but that means I start season 1 over, and if I can't make it through season 1, the show's doomed to me.
You could. That sucks because I do think...
I think I would enjoy it. It hits all the things that I like, right? Like kids in the basement playing D&D.
At least try season 2, I think. Because if you don't like season 2, then you definitely won't like 3 or 4 or anything. I actually haven't... I just watched the first episode of 4 last night, like as we were starting to go to bed. And they're like bringing up stuff from all these past seasons, and I got lost real quick. I was like, because they're in a new everything, and they're trying to bring up like each. Not to say I don't know each person's backstory, but I wasn't keeping up with what the new thing was because they're trying to throw all this old stuff, and
you had to.
And I was falling asleep.
You had to access those memories, which
I was it was something.
It's a real problem for you.
I have to stay in, like Westworld. Like you can't like be half awake in Westworld and enjoy that show because it's the freaking the
That's another show I never
line.
watched.
Oh man, I still have a few. I'm still maybe only, I don't know, 3 or 4 seasons in the Westworld. And there's maybe 4, 6. I don't know. There's definitely more out there that I need to watch. But that one, the storyline is just so deep. The plot is so thick. And I guess, like I was saying, Stranger Things is a little thicker, and I really have to pay attention to it in the last season. But Westworld, like, there's so many characters, and you don't know who's a robot or a human. And dude, it just sends you down this rabbit hole. You're like, no, he's a robot. And, you're like, I thought he was human. I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, you have to figure
I feel
out
like you've
own.
ruined everything. Now I know the answer.
Well, there's more to it. I mean,
they're all robots.
It's the whole story of robots and consciousness, and can a robot have feelings and all this. And
what is your thought on that?
No, I don't think a robot can have consciousness. If we program it to have feelings, I don't know, man. Doesn't matter.
If you programmed it, or if they made a robot that's conscious and has feelings, I think we still have the right to destroy it because it's God.
I was about to say you're getting basically the terms of a soul. Does it have a soul or not? And you're gonna say no.
Well, I don't think anything has a soul.
Ah, see, not according to the government.
Oh God, this took another twist. Speaking of government conspiracies and giving robots souls, I didn't. You brought this up last time, and I would like to correct the record for you. There are no pyramids in the Grand Canyon. I really did a deep dive.
You did some research?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
This story comes from 2 articles published in the Arizona Gazette back in like the 1800s.
Oh, interesting.
And where they claimed that, in one of the articles, they claimed that they found temples, and then the other article, they claimed the Smithsonian was digging up temples.
Okay.
And they were both printed out like 3 years apart. And the Smithsonian said, no, we're not. We're not doing that. And then
no, we're not.
The question becomes, well, then why are there all these Egyptian names for canyons in the Grand Canyon, right? And that is,
I guess I've never
like,
seen
there
that.
is one called the Temple of Isis and like the Canyon of Ra, things like that.
Oh.
And it's because the person who was in charge with naming everything in the Grand Canyon decided this is such a grand canyon that names of mountains and canyons within it should represent the world. Wow. So there's names for Egypt stuff, but there's also names for like Spanish stuff and things like that.
Interesting. It's all propaganda.
It's conspiracy. There's no propaganda in that.
What's funny too is we always have all this emphasis on the pyramids in Egypt, but what about all the structures in like South America? You know what I mean? The Mayan temples and all that. And
right.
Nobody ever gives them like any credit. Like, are those like tiny compared to the pyramids or what?
I've been to Chichen Itza. I've been to one of the Mayan pyramids.
Was it massive?
It was massive.
Interesting.
It was cool. They had so this is such an ancient civilization that they discovered it, and the jungle was totally grown all over it.
Right.
So they took away the jungle. They cut up all the jungle, and they rebuilt 2 sides of the pyramid with the stones that they found and like some improvisation. So they rebuilt 2 sides, and then the other 2 sides they left in the state that they found it in.
Sure.
So you could see what it looked like and like what it actually looked like. And they had dug up all these different structures around it too. One of which was one of those sports ball courts where they've got the stone ring on the wall, and you have to like get a ball through that ring, and the first team that does it wins, and then the winners get to be sacrificed.
Oh, sick!
Pretty.
I would love to be a professional athlete back then. Well, that's where the real finish came from.
The really cool thing that they're doing, though, is they've got these planes that are using LiDAR to scan the forest, which cuts through the trees, and they're finding temples everywhere.
Yeah, they're looking for that fucking lost city of gold.
Yeah.
Bro, you think that's real?
No.
Come on.
I think it's probably...
Lost city of gold. You don't believe in
Atlantis? Or El Dorado? I don't believe in either.
Any of those?
No. I mean, until we find it, there's only stories about it, right?
I think we should go searching.
I think El Dorado is easily explained. Like, the Spanish came over, they saw that these tribes, what they considered were primitive, like, were using gold. They didn't understand the value of gold, so the Spanish were probably like, these people have so much gold, they don't know what to do with it. Like, these are cities of gold. And then that became El Dorado. Like, oh, there's a city of gold.
I don't know, man. Like you said, all those cities are just covered in forest, and it's just thousands of years nobody's touched them.
That's true.
It seems a little weird that the city of gold, what if there's like people living in it now? Like they had to seal it off, like it's in a cave or something.
What if? Well, I don't know. Next thing you're going to start talking to me about the hollow earth or something.
I mean, conspiracies. I do believe in cave people. Those are real, right? That's a
maybe,
real thing.
Yeah. As real as El Dorado and Atlantis.
I mean, we'd probably only find out when the next meteor hits, and then we have to repopulate. The cave people have to come back out of the caves, and they're like, oh, are they all gone again?
You would mix cave people DNA with our DNA?
There's no more of our DNA.
Oh, they're the ones that
wiped out.
Okay.
Cave people came out. Are they all dead? Oh, finally. They're making so much noise up here and fucking polluting everything. We're just down here in our city of gold.
What are they doing with the gold?
And hanging out with the Atlanteans.
Of course. I watched a few shows recently on Atlantis. And they found old cities that kind of fit the bill.
Right. There's probably a story that it makes sense with, that it used to be covered in water, or maybe got covered in water from
volcanoes.
Yeah.
What a lot of these cities were got ruined by. A lot of the cities were buried from volcanic ash, or a volcano exploded and a tsunami wiped them out. That's
another weird thing you always hear about, this country used to be covered in water thousands of years ago, and you're like, huh? This was part of the ocean? What? But now it's not, because of icebergs and glaciers on top, right? And if those melt, then we're all underwater.
Okay, stop it, because I'm worried.
Have you ever seen that movie where they're all underwater? What's that one? It's from the 80s.
Where they're all underwater?
I think it's Kevin Costner or something.
Is it 10,000 Leagues Below the Sea or something? No,
it's interesting. I'll think of it later, but it's a movie.
Waterworld.
Yeah,
Waterworld,
man. Where some of the people developed gills.
Yeah,
and they all praise plants. If you have a tiny bit of soil, that's what the currency is. If you have soil, that's gold, because you can grow a plant or something.
I don't remember that movie. I remember a bunch of memes about it, though.
It was an interesting one. I mean, especially about the whole concept of how would you get food if the world was covered in water?
I don't know. Probably I wouldn't have made it on the Ark or whatever saved humanity. Have you seen the Ark in fucking Utah or something? Some millionaire creationist built an Ark.
Oh no!
And on this, and I don't know, he wanted to prove the story of creation, so he built a replica Ark using Noah's plans, and he put cages on the ark, and he filled the cages with replicas of animals, 2 of each, But get this, because he's a creationist and believes the world is 6,000 years old, inside a lot of those cages are dinosaurs.
No.
Yeah. And it's actually a whole creationist museum where like he explains, or the museum's intent is to explain.
We need to go there.
How the Earth is actually 6,000 years old.
I've always joked with Cody about starting a side segment of going to just the worst museums in America or in the world.
That's on the list, buddy.
If there is such a thing as that, I want to see dinosaurs in cages.
Yeah. There is such a thing.
That is in a fake ark.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Where is this, man? We got it in America.
I said Utah a bunch of times, but I don't think it's in Utah. I don't know where it's
Montana, who knows?
Wherever the religious collect and
they have a lot of land.
Another thing that they do is that
it's
employed by people who have like science degrees and stuff. So it adds legitimacy, but they're all just the exact same type of nut job where they're like, no, my science actually proves that dinosaurs were on the ark.
Do you guys know how big those dinosaurs are? You've seen the bones, right? We put the bones together.
I would love to see how they explain that. Maybe their explanation is some animals were too big to fit on the ark, and that's why a lot of the dinosaurs got wiped out.
We try, man, but that Brachiosaurus, man, we're just, all right, you gotta. He's looking at the Brachiosaurus and the lion. All right, come on, get on here, lion.
Oh man,
I love, dude. What a crazy thing to look at. When we might have to do this as a video sometime, but seeing how big animals used to be before humans just slaughtered everything, or maybe mass extinction too, probably killed a lot of them. But
yeah.
Have you ever seen like these old pigs? And what's cool is when you see them with people, like they found this giant freaking beaver, or whatever. Maybe not a beaver. That's a bad example.
There were large beavers back a long time ago.
There you go. Giant.
There were
beavers.
Giant sloths too.
Yeah,
like
dude.
Half bear, half sloth looking things.
Yeah.
There are interesting animals that lived along with people. Like I think it was called the oryx. It's like the descendant of all, or the ancestor of all cows and stuff. They used to have these massive fucking cows that plowed their fields and things like that.
I did see this whole like documentary on YouTube about why the megalodon went extinct in the ocean, and it was all about how like the hierarchy of sharks and what they ate, and these megalodons were made to eat giant whales, and eventually
they ate them all. Eventually they ate them all.
Well, I think there was a bigger whale than the blue whale, I believe, I think the food, once the biggest food started dying, then it just kind of keeps going down the chain, it basically. And now the biggest we have is the great white shark, and it's every time human beings have ever tried to put a great white shark in a cage, it's died.
I have heard that.
They've never been able to hold one in captivity. I mean, they've been able to hold one for maybe a couple months or a year.
They tried recently. One died recently in captivity.
How crazy is that? Like it needs to search the ocean. Like it's built to just hunt the ocean, man.
It's weird how many things are just muscles that move a mouth. You know what I mean?
How wild of a creature that is. I don't want to be anywhere near it, but I sure do appreciate it. Oh, scary thing. I literally, I don't even know if I want to surf, but I'm so scared of sharks.
Oh, really?
I'm like, it's like I'm so not in control. Not to mention the ocean's kind of a fucker, man. Like that thing, even the ocean scares me a little bit when you get some big waves. I can't remember what it's called, like alassophobia or something, where you have fear of the vastness of the ocean. I feel that a little bit. Interesting.
Like I don't.
It's too you can't comprehend it. I feel that maybe about space a little bit. Like if I really try to sit down and like think about. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna have a panic attack or something. Like this is too intense.
Maybe you can relate to this. Do you remember as a little kid, like if you were alone in a swimming pool and closing your eyes, even though there were no sharks, it felt like sharks could be getting at you?
How often did your parents leave you alone in the swimming pool?
We had a swimming pool.
Oh, okay.
It was in Phoenix. I guess maybe that's maybe
that's a weird story to start. Remember when you were a kid and you're just alone in the swimming pool?
Well,
no. I always remember there being people there.
I even like if I'm swimming in like a lake or anything where like my feet aren't touching the bottom, I feel like something could just reach up and grab me.
Ooh, there we go. You just remind me of that old YouTube video. The guy that comes out of the lake with
Old Greg?
Old Greg, yeah. Old Greg's gonna pop out.
Old Greg, I would much rather have an encounter with him than like my childhood imagination.
What do you think that guy's doing nowadays, man? He
just still living in a swamp, probably. Drinking Baileys from a shoe and shit.
He broke the internet, and then what? Does he have anything going on now?
Well, I don't think that was specifically a YouTube video. I think it was from a British comedy, a sketch show.
Oh.
And it ended up on YouTube.
Interesting.
So he's an actor. He might still be.
You're probably right.
He might still be acting.
I don't know any of the backstory on that old weird freaking video, man.
Dude, speaking of old memes, yesterday I threw an old meme out there and like nobody got it. And I had to explain it.
Oh no, you old man.
Do you remember Ken Bone?
Nope.
Perfect. So for those other people who don't remember Ken Bone, back during the 2016 election, they held a town hall between Trump and Hillary. And there were a bunch of commoners on stage who were asking these two questions. And one of them who claimed that, you know, my vote could go to either one of you. He asked a question. His name was Ken Bone. He was like this round, bald dude wearing a red sweater. He was older. And I don't know, there was like a goofiness or a childlike innocence about him.
Yeah, he started a whole sweater meme.
Yeah. So
big red sweater. He was on all the fucking talk shows and everything for it.
Everyone fell in love with Ken Bone.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Well, during his hype, his meteoric rise, where everyone's loving him, he did a Reddit AMA, which is Ask Me Anything.
Oh.
A lot of times celebrities or people in the spotlight go onto Reddit, they do an AMA, and you get to type in, and they answer it in real time. They reply to your comments.
We need to get on that, for sure. Our audience should.
Yeah, everyone, the 6 people that watch are dying for that. So the thing that happened was he used his Reddit account that he's been posting with for years. And you can look at people's post history on Reddit.
Sure.
So they go into his post history, and just as quickly as he rose to fame, he was destroyed by the media.
The internet destroyed him.
And one of the posts he said, and I'll never forget it, he was talking about Jennifer Lawrence's leaked nudes, okay? And he said like this preamble, he gave some explanations in a speech, and he said, the people who look at it are the evil ones. And by that, I mean me. I saw her butthole. I liked it.
Oh, no.
So anytime someone brings up Ken Bone, I always say, I saw her butthole. I liked it.
Well, you really went deep into the Ken Bone lore, though. I didn't know the second part of that
Someone
story.
on Discord posted a GIF that had Ken Bone in it. Maybe they didn't even know who that was. Maybe they just typed in funny GIF.
Sure.
And that one popped up. And I typed in, I saw her butthole. I liked it. And everyone stopped chatting. And
Did you mean to type that here, bud?
I said, please somebody get this reference or I'm going to like go into exile. And someone finally replied, pack your bags. Like, get the fuck out of here. So I had to explain the whole story.
No way. I didn't know the second half of that. I mean, just as him being in the background with that big red sweater and he just got full media coverage for like an hour or whatever it was. I don't know. That's so funny.
It's weird, like the life cycle of a meme too. Oh, dude, his rise was so meteoric and it ended so abruptly.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the worst of it. That was the funniest of it. The worst of it was like, I think.
Oh, he said some disgusting things.
He said some. He had some bad political takes, I think, that were like
racist shit or
about Trayvon Martin. I don't know if you remember Trayvon Martin.
That does sound really familiar.
It was someone who got. I don't even remember the story, honestly. I remember it was a big story, but someone got shot.
Police shooting.
No, it was like between two people. Someone was neighborhood watch, and Trayvon Martin was walking through the neighborhood, and he got shot.
By a neighborhood watch person.
Dude, I honestly don't remember, and I'm fucking this whole story up.
Can you imagine, dude?
But I know that's the reason why he got excommunicated. Ken Bone.
I can't stand seeing those Karens and what's a male Karen?
Also Karen. Everyone tries to come up with like Kevin or Stan or some shit. It's also Karen.
It's just like another Karen.
Everyone is a Karen. Karen means that now.
Dude, those racist ones were like. It's like the dude's like trying to drop off food or he's trying to deliver some packages and he's like, what are you doing in my neighborhood? I'm like, dude, I'm literally dropping. Well, it's none of your business, first of all.
Right.
What are you doing? You're in my neighborhood. This is a gated community. Like, I'm just, dude, how did you get this gay code? I'm calling the police. Like, I can't imagine being that kind of person, man.
I can't imagine caring about anything that much, dude.
No.
Like, even if I knew even if I 100% knew that person didn't live here, I would not care. I would not care. Go use the pool, whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't care.
I just saw a TikTok
Leave me alone.
of a kid trying to sell shit door to door or something. And the kid was, you didn't see the previous story of like, I obviously didn't see him knock on the door or whatever. All you see is the kid starting to film and he's leaving. And the guy is coming, and he's like, just gonna like fight this kid. Like, what are you doing in my neighborhood? There's no soliciting, and I think.
Well, that I respect. I hate soliciting.
Interesting. You beat their asses.
I will. No, I won't. I'm so nice that I'll probably buy whatever they're selling. Oh, you got candy bars? Sick. $6 for a Hershey's. Awesome.
Oh.
Good luck out there. It's for your school fundraiser.
They're hustling.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, there's just this old man just gets in the guy's face, and he doesn't punch him, but I think he probably tries to steal the camera and tries to push him a little bit or something like that. Like, dude. Imagine, if somebody did that to me, I don't know how I would be able to hold myself back and not knock him out.
That story reminds me of the SpongeBob episode where he's going door to door selling chocolate, and that one neighbor starts screaming chocolate and chasing him down. And SpongeBob's running from him the whole time, thinking he's going to beat his ass. But it turns out that guy just wanted to buy all of the chocolate. He loves chocolate so much that he loses his mind. So maybe you're misinterpreting that video.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe that guy just wanted to buy all the chocolate.
Yeah, he's like, you ever come back here again without more product?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah. That's all there is to it.
I need all of it.
If I can't eat all the chocolate, I'll eat a human body. It's the next best thing.
Yeah, that's what I didn't see the beginning of the video. He probably sold all the product.
Right.
Sold out, and he had nothing left, and he's like, how dare you? How dare you?
That seems most likely. In fact, that is what happened.
I gotta look at my notes real quick.
Always looking at your notes. Probably a good thing. I don't have any notes, but I do have interesting topics.
You do?
There was a story in the Denver area, or in the Colorado area, I guess. This guy was charged with felony for tampering with weather monitoring equipment. He was knocking it over, cutting cords. He was duct taping pie tins to devices that monitored rain.
Wow.
You want to know why? Because he's a farmer and his crops are insured. And the insurance will pay him out on all the crops if the state reports low rainfall. It has to be below a certain threshold. So he was breaking all the rain monitoring devices.
Was it working?
I mean, they do not have accurate information on the rainfall for a 5-year period. He got away with it for 5 years before he got caught.
Interesting.
Isn't that wild?
This guy's a Robin Hood.
He's paying himself.
No, he's every farmer that has insured crops.
Oh, no, that's true.
It's every farmer. This guy's a
Multiple
Robin
farmers
Hood.
were benefiting.
I'm surprised there isn't a dang conspiracy group right now of farmers. Like, what are the hackers? Anonymous. There's probably a farmer anonymous.
Farm-anonymous.
There really
Can't
isn't.
make it work.
There really isn't global warming at all. Everybody keeps messing with all the monitors and everything.
Oh God, that is going to be what the conspiracy is.
Well, I have heard. I don't know how accurate this is or not, but I've heard people say that one of the reasons that global warming was taken out of proportion is because the past 50 to 100 years or whatever that we've had these monitoring technologies. We've also put in a shit ton of like blacktop and asphalt and things like that, and then places where these monitors were, now there's like tons of heat coming off of these blacktops, and it's taken kind of just messed with the statistics, I guess, where it looks like things got so much hotter when really you're just not measuring the right areas.
The argument is that we're making it hotter.
Well,
because it was the original argument.
It's more about like the cities, I guess. Like if you're saying like Denver's gotten so much higher, well, maybe it's because it's all concrete now. You know what I mean?
That is a reason.
I don't know. That's
Definitely.
just a minor conspiracy.
Denver's kind of weird because
that farmer story is pretty wild, though, man.
Denver's weird because the mountains stop pollution, so there's always like this weird haze.
How the fuck did this guy find all the monitors, man? He literally, he's like, okay, who's reporting to you guys?
I don't know.
He's got to go.
He had to drive around.
He researched it's a government agency that's keeping track of the rainwater, and then where are they keeping all of their facilities and their monitors? What a fucking operation that guy did, man. I am kind of impressed.
Yeah, kind of.
At first, I thought he was in Looney Tunes. Now I'm like, geez, this
Well,
guy.
now I like the Robin Hood conspiracy. Like, no, he's helping out every farmer. Now I worship him as a god.
That's how he thought in his head. Like, I am.
Actually, in his head, at the court, he pled guilty and he was ashamed of himself. He did this big speech about how he fucked up and he doesn't deserve forgiveness.
In court, I feel like you need pity from like.
Also, the way they get you is plea deals, right? So
right.
I'm sure he pled guilty for a reduced sentence for destroying like federal property or at least government property.
I know a guy that was accused of vehicular homicide, but he says he didn't do it, and he pled guilty just so that he wouldn't get the possibility of a longer sentence.
Right.
And he only had, I think he was maybe sentenced to 5 to 10 and only had to do like 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah, plea deals are the downfall of a lot of people because they have to then admit that they did something, even if they didn't.
Sure. Yeah.
Because the thought of being charged is so much scarier.
And that's kind of it's weird because the court is almost designed to make you try to plead. Like they're going to advise you to do it, the lawyers will. Like,
right, because it saves a lot of money in so many different areas. Like they don't have to do this court thing now and pay everyone
prison.
to go.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't have to be in the prison for X amount of years, and
it's a little fucked.
It's fucked because
especially if
that person has to
it.
have it on their job resume and apartment application forever.
I guess it's only good if you actually did do the crime.
Oh yeah, then it's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, I'll admit to it.
If there's like a mountain of evidence, then take that fucking plea deal. You're still covered in the victim's blood. Can we get a reduced sentence if I just
ketchup?
Yeah, then it's a pretty good deal.
That's wild, man. I want to research this farmer guy now, man. He's gonna start a movement now. Like in 10 years, we're gonna find this huge group of farmers.
This is an article I read right before you came over.
I'm surprised there isn't already, but I guess I get why. I know there's farmers unions and all that, but I guess it's the big Monsantos are just in control, man, and the Tyson Foods and the big boys are just gonna. Bill Gates is just gonna buy up all the farmland, man, until there's no more small timers.
The circle of debt that they put farmers in is really fucked up to me. Where it's like,
how fucked is that?
You need to. There's a new rule, and it needs to be like your facility needs to have this thing now. Oh, I can't afford that thing. No worries. We're gonna sell it. We're gonna like loan it out to you or sell it to you, and you can make installments. Dude. And before they even get that paid off, there's a new piece of equipment that they now need, and it's just like
you have to buy our seed. And I know that normally that plants grow their own seeds, and that you could just replant those seeds. You have to buy our seeds that don't do that. How fucked is that?
Patenting DNA is terrifying.
Terminator seeds, by the way, is what those are called.
Terminator seeds, yeah.
You want me to buy your Terminator seeds?
That don't produce seeds? That's the whole thing about those, is they can't grow. Like, they don't make the seeds that can grow again.
You purposely genetically modified these to only grow for one season. Yeah. How wild is that?
There's weird stories about it too, where like seeds or something like that will blow off into a different farmer's field, and because those are patented and he didn't buy them, he can be sued.
How wild!
I'm sure these are like anecdotal stories, and it's happened once or twice, but
couple Karens.
It's still terrifying.
With a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. a company Karen.
I heard about a guy on TikTok who was bragging the past like 5 or 6 jobs he had. He's purposely gone there just to sue them. And he said like the biggest one he got was 10 grand. He's also made like 5, 6, 7 grand on these other jobs for doing shit like he'll go to a warehouse job and he'll see people not wearing the certain equipment they're supposed to, and he'll go report them and like sue them for
workplace safety.
Yeah.
OSHA violations.
Yeah, violating OSHA and all this shit, and he'll get a couple grand for it.
There's a lot of like getting paid to be a narc. Like you see there will be like strippers flexing on TikTok their stacks of cash, and the IRS pays people to report those people.
Yeah, I've heard about those because they're not reporting those on their taxes, so they're just making a couple grand a night. And
what's messed? Yeah,
that'll add up real quick on the taxes.
Oh man, that's so dark. It's so dark that people get paid.
We started this podcast with "Would you get a rub and tug?" but then them making a couple grand for shaking their titties is dark now. They're not even.
No. The dark part is paying someone to be a narc.
Oh,
that's fucked up.
That's shitty.
I don't care about strippers.
I'm pretty sure any narc in general is pretty shitty.
Yeah. Oh, your job is to rat on other people and get them like. If you don't pay your taxes, you get put in jail. So his actions directly could be putting people in jail.
I got a stupid narc story. So I had these group of skaters when we were young, and one of the dudes I came up with, you know him as well. I'll tell you later. He stole a half ounce of weed from me. Like I invited him to a party. At this time I was in college, and I had like a tiny little lock safe, like the $10, $20 ones that have a little key, plastic thing, like fire safe. And I had this like little hiding spot for it, and I got out my key out of the hiding spot. I invited him to my room, opened the thing up, and he smoked a bowl or something. And then we went back, put everything away, went to the party. And then for whatever reason, out of nowhere, he's gone. And he texted me like, "Hey, my girlfriend wanted me to pick her up or something. I had to bounce." And I was like, "I invited you to the party, and you didn't even you came and smoked the bowl and then bounced like before the party." It was really weird. And then I see my weed's missing. Like the party's just starting. And I'm like, "Dude, this is a little sus." Nobody like
he watched where your key was.
Yeah, like he just like that. I consider as a personal friend that I invite him in. Nobody else knows where I keep the key and all that shit. But I was like, this is my skater bud, and
I know who you're talking about.
You probably do.
Yeah.
So whatever. That friendship ended basically there. Well, there's a whole story after that. Like hey man, did you steal my weed? And of course, no, I didn't. And then like, well, you're the only one I can figure out here. And the party just started. Like nobody's knows about this. Blah yada. And he has this whole story about when I went to pick up my girlfriend, we got in a car accident. And,
oh no!
And the car got impounded, and I was like, where did it get impounded? I'll go just to verify, And he gives me a fucking impound lot, and I call the impound lot. I was like, and he tells me the car and everything. Like, I was like, what kind of car? White van. Her white van.
Lunatic.
I was like, was there a white van last night that got impounded there? And he's like, nope. I'm like, how wild you went that detailed. So I call him again. I called my buddy again. I was like, hey man, I just called about all that information. It wasn't a white van. It was something. He starts changing the car. I'm like, okay, dude, you're just literally. He even had his girlfriend come on and try to lie for him too, and like get on the phone. I'm like, this is just too wild. You're
all for a couple $100 maybe.
Yeah, literally $150 worth of a little bag of, and he at the time he just was so in deep with drugs and shit, and get into worse shit than weed and stuff, and stealing from everybody. Just he would tell before this, he would tell a bunch of his buddies, I'm going out to Chicago to get a bunch of weed, like let's chip in some money, and then of course something happened in Chicago and the whole thing gets stolen,
of course.
And he keeps all the cash, like shady stuff. So that friendship ended, but the reason I brought up the narc thing was because I still actually am great friends with his sister all these years later, and he came to town a couple months ago, and she tried, hey, getting us back together. Hey, you want to hang out with him? Like maybe you can rekindle. And I was like, yeah. And then right away I went on my Snapchat group of our Skate for Life Snapchat group with all my little skater friends from back in the day, and put on there. Sorry, maybe you have to edit that. Sorry.
God damn it.
Jay's coming to town.
He's coming to town.
Nobody knows who Jay is, do they?
No, they don't.
It's just a letter.
And if anyone made it this far, they're never going to deduce.
You would have to be my close friends to even know who this is. Anyway. But do you want to hang out? And I went on my Snapchat and I was like, yo, he's coming to town, and should I ask him about that half ounce of weed he stole from me all these years later? And everybody just kind of laughs about it and all that. But then one of those guys on the group right away goes and texts him and was like, hey man, I think when you go hang out with Dalton, he's gonna try to ask you for this weed, and just warning you right now, like
no way,
I'm gonna fucking kick his ass or something, or start a fight over this. And then his sister gets involved too. Like, well, first of all, he hits me back and is like, yo, I heard you're gonna hit me up about this weed I stole all these years later. Like, and I'm just like, well, I mean, it would be nice if you gave it back, but I was just,
gave it back like it exists.
But it was just me joking with my those old dudes on TikTok or on Snap, and that just offended. Oh, you guys are just gonna joke about me on
yes.
It turned into a thing. And
yeah, definitely. We're guys. We all make fun of each other.
I know,
relentlessly.
Right. And then his sister got into it too. Like, I can't believe you went into this group and were saying these things about him. I'm like,
Jesus.
It's 5 people that know him back in the day, and the funny thing is he stole from 2 or 3 of them too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, and something we can all joke about now. Like, I understand he's trying to be clean now, and fix his life and all this shit, and he's like lifting weights, bodybuilding, all this shit. Like, you gotta go for it, man. I wanted to rekindle with you and see what's up, but. For some, I offended them for some reason, right? Whatever. I'm still friends with a sis. She hit me up the other day for my birthday and just said, hey, but wild story, man. It was just a random, and then the narc in the Snapchat, I was like, dude, did you tell him that I was gonna hit him up about this weed all these years later? I was joking. He's like, yeah, I told him about it, and he like left the group now because he thought that I'm calling him I'm like calling him out for being a narc or something like that.
Jesus, you just burn bridges, man.
I know, man.
You're terrible.
I a little bit.
I think if a friend stole something valuable from me, I would not ask them if they did. I would say, hey, man, it doesn't have to be right away, but you got to pay me back for that weed. You're going to have to pay me for that weed.
Well, that was kind of the text conversation. I was like, the funny thing is, man, you're out in Colorado. You can buy that for $30 now.
Right.
Where I spent, $150. Like, I was like, honestly, go spend $30, grab some weed, give it to me, and we'll fucking shake hands and forget about everything. But it didn't turn in. That's what I asked.
Did he admit to it finally?
No, he's never admitted to it.
Oh God, that's even worse. That's worse than anything.
And then I asked, from a sister, like when her defending him, all she'll say is, well, he was so mixed up in all those drugs. He says he doesn't remember those times at all. He just has blank spots.
That's convenient. That's super.
All the crimes he did I blanked out all those crimes for some reason. I don't know how. All the drugs.
That's a lot of drugs.
I know, dude. But anyways, the funny thing too, that the kid that narked, he stole from me, was in a whole drug phase with the guy back in the day. I think they're still very close friends. But he stole from me too, and I caught him on it, and we had me and all of his friends had like a intervention with him, man. Like I caught you stealing the iPod from him over here, and I bought it from him, and I saw his info in it. So then I hit him up. I was like, hey, did you lose an iPod recently? Yeah, like a month or two ago, I lost my iPod. Well, I know who stole it because he just sold it to me.
Wow.
And at that time, he was selling me all kinds of other I got this camera here, you want this camera? I don't have the charger or anything for it, like he was selling me all this shit for clearance. Dude. But then I found out, you weren't just taking this from randoms, you were taking this from our close friends. And he was also like stealing shit out of cars if he could find cars open and shit like that. But when we had the intervention, he had a bag with an iPad in it and a bunch of other like GPS units, like he'd stolen out of a car or something like that. And we had this intervention. I called him out. Like at first, it was like we tried to get him to admit to it, and he kept lying and lying and lying. And finally, I told him the evidence that we had, that we know that it's his iPod. And finally, after 17 lies, he broke and just started confessing to all these thefts.
And that's how the cops get you. Never confess, never plea.
But it's not in front of cops, man. This is in front of all your close friends, man. Like, we were literally at our clubhouse. We had like a clubhouse of kids that we could hang out at back when we were young. And anyways, that friendship was actually rekindled until he narked on me over this other thing. So it's such a weird situation. I have no reason not to be friends with any of these guys. It's just, for whatever reason, you decided to tell him that, and then that started a fight. And now I'm in the okay.
I don't know. Maintaining high school friendships is
so dude.
difficult.
That's the whole thing, man. When I got out of high school, I really tried my hardest to keep in contact with all my closest friends and stuff, but everybody just goes on with their own story, their own lives, and it's impossible.
Right.
So
when they're in town, you get lunch or something.
Right.
That's it.
There's no reason why you can't be in the Snapchat group anymore, though, bro. All right, you're whatever. Too much hate, apparently.
All right. Well, we'll end it there on that sad note about friendships failing.
Well, the only thing you didn't wish me a happy birthday. I'm a little sad now. I was waiting this whole podcast.
I texted you yesterday. I said, yo, is it your birthday? No response. Until today when you said, oh, I forgot to reply. Yesterday was my birthday. And I said, well, I was going to wish you a happy birthday, but now it's too late.
I know. The funny thing, though, is everybody that replies to me for my Facebook threads of happy birthdays, I literally try to have a personal message on everyone, which is super difficult because there's some people I'm like,
who the fuck are you?
When did we hang out? Or how do we know each other? So, those will be a little more generic, obviously, but there's no, I I don't care if there's 100, 200 of them. Like I'm gonna try to say something on there, like thank you and whatever. But
okay, what's my personalized thank you message?
I tried it, but you said go die. I was gonna give you. I
did add die at the end. That was kind of weird.
And
I did tell you to die a day after your birthday.
You're like, well, I'm not gonna tell you more, so just go die. Well, I guess no more birthdays for this guy. I feel good though, man. I'm 32. Which we brought up was the youngest UFC fighter, so I'm just entering my mastery of athleticism.
Fuck yeah.
Do you believe me?
That you're 32? No.
You
Higher.
think I'm older?
Higher.
I literally trimmed the beard just for that.
For your birthday?
Some of the kids I teach, I taught them yesterday for my birthday, and I was like, how old do you think I am? They're like, 40? 42? 40? You fucking little shitheads.
Oh, it's not 40?
Everybody, I made them all do push-ups. Can a 40-year-old do this? Okay. Have a good day, guys. Happy birthday to me.